Okay. Mic was unplugged. I think we finally got YouTube working. Go ahead and let us know through the chat if you're having any audio issues. We were having trouble with an echo earlier and haven't been able to figure out how to eliminate it or where it's coming from, but hopefully it's not coming through on your end. Go ahead and let us know. We'll see if the live chat works as well. I'm going to go ahead and turn on our model's microphone. And here we go. All right, welcome. I'm John Poppleton. This is my Blacklight studio. Sorry about all the technical difficulties. This is the first live stream and we have no clue what we're doing. We should have had this all figured out weeks ago, but technology. I've come from the old school and this is my very first live stream. I haven't even done a Skype call, so this is all new, connecting the software side of things with YouTube, and I apologize for the delay. I've got Chanel in the hot seat as our canvas, and we've got Heather behind the scenes. She'll be swapping Chanel out for our second painting, and right now we're just getting the final things done. I was getting the airbrushes all cleaned up, ready to go, when we discovered we had some technical issues with the connection, and figured I could be cleaning the airbrushes while we get everybody logged in and viewing. So I still have to clean a couple airbrushes while we finish up. Let's see if everything is working right. Any comments from our audience, Chanel? Not yet?
No.
Got to remember not to move my seat. I'm so used to rolling around. But for this, I need to stay in one spot. So I just need to clean out some paint that I should have done earlier. So I've been working with Chanel and Heather for probably 16 or 17 years now. We go way back. 20 years ago, I was in the local search and rescue with Chanel's dad and brother, and that's how we met. And then later she did a lot of modeling for the bridal shop I was connected with, and Heather was working at the bridal shop, and that's how I met Heather. And we've been doing pictures ever since. Okay, that should be enough to get us started. If somebody could just try out the chat and let us know that you're actually getting a signal.
Looks like Matthew L. has said that he really admires your work.
Ah, thanks, Matthew.
Where are you seeing that? Mm-mm.
We're trying to figure out how to use the device to see the...
Do you want to just use my phone?
Yeah.
Okay, by the time we do the next one, we'll have all of these issues worked out.
Do you want to take this one, Heather, and see if you can figure out how to...
And in the meantime...
Awesome.
All right.
Weird, right?
That's a different...
So I do have
Because I have
this.
not seen it.
So we've got Matthew.
Great, Matthew. Thanks for joining.
Alrighty. Okay, let me explain what we're going to start out with. So I'm going to do a couple of paintings. I'm going to try and keep them quick. I normally spend an average about 2 hours on a painting. Sometimes if it has a lot of detail, I'll go 3 or 4 hours. But to keep this short and sweet, and I wanted to illustrate just how easy this can be. It doesn't have to be very complicated. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. And to show how simple it can be, I've chosen a scene that a few years ago, when the producers of America's Got Talent contacted me and wanted to have me audition, and they only give you 90 seconds. And I was trying to think of what I could do in 90 seconds, and this is what I came up with and was able to pull it off. We're going to do a desert Arizona sky scene with cactus, and so I've got kind of a template cut out here that we're going to be gluing onto Chanel. This is made out of laminate from the laminating shop at the copy center. I have a friend there and they just save it for me, and it comes in big scrap sheets they throw in the garbage, and so I cut out my shapes, and it helps me plan the composition of the painting in advance before I make it permanent. In the beginning, when I was just starting out, I wasn't planning on becoming a body painter. I was just a really bored portrait photographer looking for a creative outlet. And I was trying, I had no idea that I was going to end up in body painting. I just wanted to do something that was different and fun. And I started playing with black lights, and I had no idea I was going to end up here. So I had no body painting background or experience. Therefore, I had no body painting tools or paint. All I had was some fluorescent hairspray, and I needed a way that I could get the paint in the shapes that I wanted, so I started using stencils and using the hairspray like spray paint. And I didn't have any black, and I found that when I took the picture, the skin was dark, almost black, compared to the brightness of the paint. And so I just started using the absence of paint as my black. And so by gluing on a stencil, or I want a black silhouette, and then painting the sunset behind that, and then peeling it off, leaving bare skin, that was how I produced black.
John Matthew says he's been following your work for a few years. Bobby says thanks for doing this. And Juan Pablo says your art is great.
Thanks so much. Good to see you joining. I was wondering if Bobby was going to make it. We've been swapping technical blacklight data for a few years now. And thank you, Juan. And
it looks like
E.T. All right, thanks for joining. Looks like we're in business now. Are we having an echo problem on your end? Because the recordings that we tried, it seemed to have a weird echo with the audio. Hopefully it's tolerable. Okay, what I'm going to do is I've got a can of spray and glue, some spray adhesive.
high tech.
I hate this stuff because it floats around and sticks to the hairs on your arm and it feels weird. But I'm just going to spray.
Bobby says the audio's clear. Thanks, Bobby.
Oh, awesome. Cool. Okay, I've got a box on the floor just so I don't get it everywhere. It's out of the camera's view, but I'm just going to put a little bit of this glue on our cactus. Hopefully not too much, but enough to keep it there. Kind of test it for tackiness. Going to need a little more. Still a little more. I usually get too much, so I've been trying to hold back. The glue also glows, so I don't want it to come off on the skin. And just so you know, I hate being in front of the camera. Actually, I don't mind being in front of the camera. I just hate talking to the camera. I'm not a very good Bob Ross. Maybe with a little practice. All right.
You're doing a great job, John.
Thank you. I think we still need a little bit on the tip here just so it doesn't peel off. Okay, I want this to be our main focal point. And I'm going to have a mountain. Yeah, with all the craziness going on, I actually had some pictures to kind of show what we were planning here. So let me have Heather get that pulled up. I should probably add a little bit more, but I think we're good. Okay, Heather's still working on pulling up that graphic. There we go. And okay, so that's kind of a basic idea. Only we're going to switch it out for a little bit more of an evening with starry sky rather than sunset. And I just need to get a couple more cacti in place. Probably do a smaller one there and then a even smaller one in the background. Maybe a couple smaller ones. Let's try that. Might be time to buy some more spray glue. This has been around for years and it's getting weird. Murphy's Law is applying today. Just letting it get a little less tacky. Got some big globs on there. Okay, another way you can do this is the clear adhesive sheets that you can buy at the craft store. People line shelves with it and inside of their drawers. In Europe, they actually use it as a book cover. And they put it over their school books, and then they can see what the book is through the cover and not get it scratched up. And at the end of the year, they can peel it off and return the book without any damage. And that's what they use it for there. So if you're in Europe, you're probably familiar with that. That works really good. The only reason I didn't use it for our cactus this time is it's kind of flimsy, and with all of the different fingers of the cactus, it was just going to be more complicated. But I am going to show you that product for our mountain. All right, and we're almost to that point.
Bobby says, I should have shot a few cactus silhouettes while I lived in Texas. In Tucson. Sorry, Bobby.
Okay, so we've kind of built our composition of where the cactus are going to be. The mountain is going to be kind of right here. So I want to show you this picture of another reference with a mountain in the background. And the thing that I want to emphasize on this example is that the cactus in the foreground are pure black silhouette, but the mountain itself is a lot lighter, so you can still see the trunk of the cactus in front of the mountain, where if we made the mountain also solid black, then it just all blend in. And so when we get to painting, I'm going to show how I create that effect. So our next step here is to cut out our mountain, and
Says that Bobby was laughing. I think he's laughing because I think that there's cactuses in Texas.
There probably is.
I hope so.
I think, let's see, Bobby, are you in Florida now, if I remember right? Okay, so this is some of that that material that you can buy at the craft store in big roll and cut it out and put it on things. It's kind of like clear laminate, but it's pretty lame for laminate. But it'd make a great book cover. And then I've got a Sharpie marker, and we can kind of see how wide the piece is going to have to be for our location here on the model's body. I'm just going to trim it to make it a little easier. And then we're just going to draw kind of a basic what the mountain would look like. I almost need a third hand here.
Bobby says no, it was because I said Tucson and you said Texas. Contact paper from the dollar store works for that and as a transfer paper for Cricut machines. It's a good tip.
All right, so we've got kind of a mountain on there. Just going to cut that out. Now this is the way I used to do it. Now I've got the a silhouette cameo, similar to a Cricut. And that does all the heavy lifting for me, especially if I'm going to be doing a scene with a lot of like city buildings and lights of all the windows and the skyscrapers. It'd just take forever to do it with an X-Acto knife and do it this old way. But I wanted to show you the old way, so anybody that doesn't have that type of a resource can still do it old school and use scissors and a knife or whatever you might have on hand. I probably could have done this through the middle of the thing and had two separate mountains. That's a little tall for the mountain range that I want. And what I think I'm going to do is just trim it down a couple inches. Trickiest part is just getting this to separate from the backing. So our setup that we have here, while I'm working on this, I've got these black lights hanging. These are 4-foot 2-tube fluorescent shop lights, and I've mounted 3 of those fixtures together to have 6 tubes. I started out with 1 tube for years, then went to 2 fixtures of 2 tubes for a total of 4, and then I only did this was because I started having camera crews from around the world coming in, and I figured they were going to have a hard time getting enough light.
Do you want to turn the other one around? Do you need to?
And, this other one, I was trying to work at the computer and it was frying my face, and so I turned it away. And then I get some kind of weird wrinkles on one side of my face from it. But so you don't have to have that much light. I just happen to have it now, so I use it. I might at some point even install some switches on the back so I can turn off individual fixtures and cut the light down, because when you have this much light, things that don't normally glow tend to glow. So Chanel's skin, it's a little bit fair, but it wouldn't glow this much with only 2 tubes, and you get more contrast with less light. Okay, so we're ready to stick that on there. The thing to remember is the foreground stencils have to be applied first, and the things furthest away last. And since our mountain is the furthest away, it's going on last. And we can kind of figure out where that
Mike Roberts says, it's interesting to watch this part of the process.
And you might remember Mike from the shoot we did in Salt Lake.
Oh, yeah.
If it's the same Mike I'm thinking of.
That's right. It's been a few years.
Okay, there's one more step I want to do, and I should have had this ready. And that was a piece of newspaper. Okay, sorry folks. I need to jump up and grab some newspaper. Entertain the audience, you know.
Hi, everyone. I'd be curious to know if there's any models that are on viewing, or if anybody has any questions for me. E.T. says, do you or models ever suffer headaches from the black lights? Mike Roberts says, hi, Chanel. Hi, Mike. No, I've never had any headaches from the black lights. I suffer from migraines regularly and have struggled through that, but it's never been light induced by black lights specifically. However, I've had almost hypothermia a couple of times in several modeling experiences. It can be a little hot or it can be a little cold depending on what you're doing, but I've worked with John for so many years. He's such a creative, fantastic artist that I just love working with him and collaborating, and I'm a nerdy scientist by profession, and so the opportunity to do something artistic is really, really exciting and fun for me. So T Hatch says, that model is smoking hot. Is she single? No, I'm happily married. That makes me blush.
Okay, so back to the question about migraines. It does bring up a good point. Let me just stick this on here. The reason I'm putting this paper on is I'm going to be flipping some stars, and I don't want the stars to be on our foreground. And so I just want to shield
Bobby
everything.
says, another tip, having a non-UV reactive pair of eyeglasses is very handy. Great tip.
So that's what I was just about to get to. I wear glasses, and it has the UV cutting, blue blocking, all that stuff. And so I never think about it, but every now and then if I'm at the right angle and it comes in from the sides, it gets all foggy and hazy and hard to really see clear. And then it reminds me, oh yeah, the model who's not wearing glasses probably is just in a fog. And so to test out a few things, I bought some different pairs of safety glasses on on Amazon, and I didn't know if it mattered if it was a cheap pair versus an expensive pair. So I've got this pair here that if we go to, I don't know if it's bright enough to see them here, probably not, because this isn't, I've got this painting seen out of the light. And if I bring it forward, it's probably going to go out of focus. Not a problem. Anyways, so I've got an expensive pair versus, those are like $13 versus a $1 pair where you can buy a dozen for $12.
John,
And they work just the same.
Bobby says John's audio is less clear at the moment. Not sure.
That's good. Glad you let me know, because I unplugged and I came back and forgot to plug in. So we're going through Chanel's mic. So let me reconnect. Thanks for pointing that out.
Thanks, Bobby. He's plugging back in as we speak.
Okay, we're back.
Is that better, everyone?
Sorry about that. So it doesn't matter if you spend $1 versus $13. These are both going to cut the UV, and so if you're someone who doesn't wear prescription glasses, you can wear this in the black light, whether you're the model or someone else. I've had models that do get migraines in the black light, and so they will wear these safety glasses, and it just makes everything really crystal clear. So, all right. Okay, so we've got our shield in place, we've got our cactus in place. It's not perfect, but good enough.
Mike Robert says it has not changed.
The audio? Oh.
Yeah.
I also turned it off before I unplugged so there wouldn't be a snap.
Hopefully that's better.
Okay, like I said, this was going to be a complete disaster for our first round. But we're hoping to do this a couple of times a month, at least once a month, if nothing else. But hopefully two, every couple of weeks. And I think we're going to get this all figured out and get into the swing of things, and we'll have all of these issues all resolved, and it'll just be second nature here eventually. Okay, so we're finally to our first paint, and I'm just going to it could be done in a couple of different ways. It doesn't matter if I do the orange or the blue or the stars first, but I think I'll start with the orange. I've got an Iwata airbrush. I've tried different ones from the cheaper Revolutions up to the Pro models, and I found that I like the Pro versions more for my detail work, and I use like the Revolutions, which have a larger nozzle for doing the larger coverage. The paint that I like, I use a lot of different brands because they all have pros and cons, and I use a little bit of everybody's brand. The brand that I started with was from Mania USA, based in Salt Lake, and I really liked a lot of their paint, but they changed the base formula, and now it has a problem with cracking and peeling. Luckily, I still have some of the original version. I'm almost out, and I'm hoping we can get that corrected before I run out. I also use one called Neon Glow, found on Amazon, and it doesn't have that cracking problem, and it can be thinned, quite thin for the airbrush. Another thing that's nice about having this shield or paper here is I can kind of test the airbrush, make sure it's flowing properly before actually applying it to the model where it counts. Kind of practice. Now I'm going to go up and actually apply it to the skin here. And usually with a sunset, or in this case an evening, dusk, stars are starting to appear, or even if there's a city on the other side of the mountain creating an orange glow coming up, you're going to have that bright glow showing off the mountain. And so I'm going to concentrate most of the paint right above the mountain. Is our camera in position for number 2? Is it in the right spot? Here we go. Another test. And I kind of fade it up a little bit, but really put most of it right down here at the top of the mountain. Gotta have enough light behind the cactus that you're going to actually see the cactus. And with all of these extra studio lights, normally I wouldn't have all of these lights shining on myself or the model, it would just be black light only, but for your sake, so you just aren't looking at complete darkness, we've got these different lights lighting me up, and it makes it a little hard to judge just how bright to make this, but it should be close enough. And out of paint already. Got to add a little more. There's certain colors that seem to go faster than others. Green is the one that I go through the fastest in the airbrush because it just takes so much. And looks like we lost our close-up cam.
It's back.
Okay. Looks like Heather's behind the camera now. Okay. I also have to apologize. I've got a mix of different cameras, Sony's, Nikon, Canon, and the Nikon and Sony is putting out a nice clear picture that fills the whole frame, but my Canon camera, it doesn't fill the entire screen, and it has like some different, it's got some focus box on there that I couldn't get rid of, so I moved it out of the way, and in the future we're going to work on getting some new cameras that will match and give a nice picture all across all of the different views. So
Mike says that it's showing up better with the shot that includes you rather than the close-up camera.
And right now the close-up camera, it's going to probably be a little dark because there's no real paint on there yet. But Heather might be able to bump the exposure up a little bit until we get more paint on. All right, it's getting a little brighter.
That's good.
Now, when I was doing this for America's Got Talent, I had to have I had a different airbrush that really spit the paint out. So this part of it only took 30 seconds. You can do just an even coverage, like so, or you can go in and do some little highlights that look like little clouds that are lighting up.
Mike says much better. Thanks, Heather.
You're welcome.
We're getting echo feedback.
And we're trying to figure out where that echo is coming from. That was why one of the reasons it was taking so long to get on earlier was we couldn't figure out where the echo is coming. Yeah, it's a whole new system I've never used before, and too many things to learn at the last second. Alright, I'm going to hold off on any more orange for a minute, and we're going to switch over to the blue. Okay, so this is the Glow Mania USA Invisible Blue. It's one of my favorite blues. Under regular light you don't see anything. And it has kind of just a real vivid blue. Got a garbage can down here. Don't know if it's in the shot, but I'm spraying into the garbage. Okay, so I'm going to put some blue above the orange, and because we're working with white instead of pigment, where the two cross each other, it's going to create a new color, and we'll get a little bit of pink.
Hey, Heather. Mike says it started when you boosted up the close-up camera, the audio issue.
We don't have any audio coming through any of the cameras. So that's weird. Heather's tinkering with the close-up cam. I'm going to just keep weighing this down gradually. It's hard with light shining in my face. The trickiest blacklight project I've ever worked with was when I was collaborating with Craig Tracy in New Orleans last year, and he does visible light body paintings, world famous, everybody should know who he is, and he wanted to try blacklight, and he wanted to meet me, so he brought me out to give him some pointers, and he didn't want anybody to know it was going to be a blacklight painting. And so he did all of his regular visible light painting, and then I was going around trying to put the blacklight paint on in places, and all we had was a flashlight. It was for a live presentation for an audience of VIPs, and so we just had this little flashlight that we had to hold up close. But all the regular room lights were on, and didn't know if it was actually going to work till at the very end, and we turned out the lights, and it somehow worked. Looks like Heather's going to try turning off the audio on that camera just in case, but for my controller there shouldn't be any audio coming through it.
Lilene Ray says, if John wore a baseball cap, would it help shield his eyes from the light a little bit?
It might.
Okay,
Good idea. Let me think where I'd find one. I might have a different kind of hat sitting in here. Getting to it is going to be tricky.
You think it's fixed?
Alright, remember to plug the mic back in and turn it on this time. Okay. I think the brim is a little small, but I guess it'll help a little bit. Probably looks a little goofy, but let's see how we're doing on the blue. Alright. I think we're getting there. So right here, where they're overlapping, we're starting to get kind of a pink right here between the blue and the orange.
Bobby says, consider putting the white lights, at least the ones shining most on the model on a foot switch. For around $7, you can find Christmas light extension cords with a foot switch built into the switch. The white lights every now and then when you want to see in UV only.
That could work.
That was from Bobby, and then Mike says, is the light on you, Chanel, the one that is bothering John? I don't know which one's bothering John.
So I do have one light on a switch here, so I can turn it off and go to that view. So if people don't mind me not being super lit up,